Good evening, everyone. Good late afternoon. My name is Sharon Banks. I'm Executive Director here at Preservation Oklahoma. Thank you so much for joining us for our 2022 Most Endangered Places Kickoff event. I struggled with, should I call it a kickoff event or a celebration? I don't want to be celebrating the possibility of losing buildings, so that's why we call it a kickoff event. I'm thrilled you're here. I'm thrilled you have an interest and an investment in preservation in the state of Oklahoma. We chose the First National Center because it was on our very first list in 1993, and it truly has become, I think, one of the greatest preservation successes in Oklahoma City, if not the entire state of Oklahoma, and also, obviously, one of the greatest uses of historic tax credits the state has ever seen. And if you're not aware, we have a really robust tax credit program, and the State Historic Preservation Office would be happy to visit with you about that at any time. I want to focus a little bit on our first list, but not tonight. Linda is not here to talk shop. Linda's here to have fun, as we all are. Our very first list was in 1993, so we're approaching 30 years of most endangered places. And on that very first list, like I said, was First National Building, the Boley Historic District, which is a all-black town in the state of Oklahoma, Wheelock Academy in eastern Oklahoma, the Mayo Hotel in Tulsa, the Skirvin Hotel here in Oklahoma City, the Center Theater in Oklahoma City, the Beck Hildebrand Mill in eastern Oklahoma, Ouachita Battlefield National Historic Site, Fort Reno in El Reno, the Warehouse Market in Tulsa, and that is it. And I'm thrilled to say that a lot of those buildings, those structures, those sites, we can consider successes and saves. Center Theater is now a part of the Oklahoma City Museum of Art. Skirvin Hotel is a thriving hotel here in Oklahoma City. Same with the Mayo in Tulsa. Wheelock Academy is seeing renewed interest in eastern Oklahoma. Same with Ouachita Battlefield National Historic Site, one of our incredible National Park Service sites here in the state of Oklahoma. And we're monitoring still Fort Reno. Deferred maintenance is the word of the day for you all here with Fort Reno. There's always an issue. And so I just thought it was, and Gary Brooks, who oversaw the renovation here of the First National Center, was so gracious in allowing us to host our event here tonight free of charge, because he obviously understands the importance of historic preservation, not from a preservation standpoint, but also from a commercial standpoint too. He sees the importance of investing in our past to secure our futures here in the state of Oklahoma. I also want to thank our friends at Abandoned Oklahoma, the Abandoned Atlas Foundation, and Prairie Nation Creative, Michael Schwartz and Emily Cowan. They are sponsors of this event here, and I thank you so much for being a part of preservation and advocating for the places that we aren't always able to advocate for. Thank you so much. And they are responsible for creating our Most Endangered Places archives, which is now live on preservationok.org. You can see all 29 years, of endangered places, along with the status of those endangered places. So moving on to where we are in 2022, just came out a couple of weeks ago, and that is our 2022 Most Endangered Places list. We have a great variety of types of properties on the list this year: commercial, institutional, and residential properties. And we'll start with Casa Grande Hotel in Elk City, Oklahoma. We're starting out as far west as we are this year. And Casa Grande, as an important property, used to be the tallest building between Oklahoma City and Amarillo, located directly on Route 66. And it had a short-lived heyday, but it was also the site of the first national convention for US Route 66. My mother, I just learned tonight, my mom, took tap lessons in the basement of Casa Grande at the age of 42. So I'm just, as a young person, took tap dance lessons there at the Casa Grande. And we all have, if you grew up in Western Oklahoma, you all have a connection of some sort to Casa Grande Hotel. It's a beautiful structure, and our friends at Main Street, Oklahoma, have begun some important research into the building, and we're hopeful that it's going to be one of our flagship successes for Route 66 Centennial coming up in 2026. Next on the list is the Apache Museum, which is the old bank building in downtown Apache, Oklahoma, southwest Oklahoma. It is a stunning structure. It used to be the bank there. The corner, the little four-way stop there in Apache, Oklahoma is full of beautiful buildings. So if you're ever down in the Wichita's area, make it a point to stop in Apache, see their museum. The native stone facade of the building has buckled and collapsed. Work has begun on restoration of that building, so we put them on the list to bring awareness to the property and to help them in fundraising efforts. So if you have a couple of extra dollars, Google Apache Museum and throw some restoration money their way. Saddle Mountain Mission Church in Cache is the third property on our list. It is part of a larger property called Eagle Park in Cache, Oklahoma, which was a beloved small amusement park for years down there west of Lawton. Saddle Mountain Mission Church was moved onto the property along with Juana Parker's Star House. And the goal, I do think, would be to get that Mission Church moved back to its original location at Saddle Mountain, maybe near the Saddle Mountain Cemetery, where the founder of the church is buried. Griffin Memorial Hope Hall in Norman is the next property on the list. It's important to the history of mental health in Oklahoma, and Griffin Memorial is has taken on mythic status, I believe, too, because of our inability to explore the property as a lot of us would like to do. I know there's some artists in the room who are clamoring to perform on site, but we'll see. You may have to get your, never mind. Booker T. Washington School in Stillwater is our next property, African American school in Stillwater, built on a floodplain, and is the reason it's still standing, because it's not a hot property for developers to pursue, and I think that works in our favor. A lot is being done with OSU on the property and in surveying the property, and as we explore it more, we're learning more and more about it, and we're learning that there may be some LGBT history along with the building too that we would love to explore some more here in the future. Downtown Newkirk is the next property. It's now the entire downtown is not endangered, but we felt it was important to put the entire downtown on the list, because as you know, once one property goes, it's only a matter of time before the next property goes and then the next property goes. And so we reached out to Main Street Newkirk and said, hey, would you mind if we nominated the entire downtown? And they said, please go for it. If you have not been to Newkirk downtown, it's this beautiful all stone downtown built with native stone. It's a fabulous little downtown, so I encourage you to visit and spend your dollars with Main Street Newkirk. Next on the list is the Tall Chief Theater, which is a companion property with the Tall Chief Mansion that was on our list in 2021. Tall Chief Theater is in Fairfax and was built by Maria and Marjorie's father, and suffered some tornado damage in 2017, and so it is open to the elements. It's kind of nondescript from the outside, but the interior is a classic movie palace on the open prairie. So looking forward to visiting that property soon. Savoy Hotel in Nowata. And it's so great to have some Nowata Chamber representation tonight. Thanks for joining us all the way down here in the big city. So the Savoy Hotel has a long and varied and storied past, and we're excited to help tell that story. It's a prominent building in downtown, and it's ripe for redevelopment, right? Don't you think? And we hopefully can help make that happen. The community of Tallahassee is another all-Black community in the state of Oklahoma, and one of the few remaining. And so we thought an individual property had been nominated for the list from Tallahassee, but we as a committee decided that nominating the entire community was important to bring more awareness to our dwindling all-Black towns in the state of Oklahoma. Bryant Center is another important kind of like different aspect of African American history in Oklahoma. We go from the small town of Tallahassee to the thriving northeast side of Oklahoma City. The Bryant Center in the 60s was the place to go for African American citizens in Oklahoma City. And I've even learned that Argentina played there at one point, if I'm not mistaken. And so the owner is an older gentleman who needs our help in helping see this property revitalized. And then finally, last but certainly not least, is the Frisco Depot down in southeast Oklahoma in the town of Clayton. As our properties age and as the life of the railroad goes away, right? Our depots are the last strongholds we have to our railroad past here in Oklahoma, and it's an original property down there in Clayton, and was brought to us by Matthew Pierce at the State Historic Preservation Office, and we're happy to include it on the list and hopefully get some much needed attention to that property. As always, this can't be done without the support of all of you, the support of my board of directors. Thank you all for being here tonight. Tori Raines is our brand new board president. Thank you for taking up that mantle. Thank you, Chad, for 2 years of incredible work. And I also want to, yes, please, yes. Daniel Mathis, you were still president when I came on. I came on in February of 2020 when right before the world shut down, and have been struggling ever since. So this finally feels like my debutante debut as executive director of POK. I also want to thank the State Historic Preservation Office, an invaluable resource for the state of Oklahoma and for me as well. Linda, Matthew, thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate everything you do for the state and for me too. Thank you for being members of POK. If you are a member, if not, come talk to me. We need to rectify that. Now comes the hard sell. I'm just kidding. We're here to celebrate. We are here each other and to bring advocacy and start advocating for these 11 properties across the state. Look for a traveling exhibit in a town near you later this year that will travel for the next 12 months. And be thinking about your 2023 properties you would like to nominate. As always, I'm here.